Delegates, it's my privilege to introduce our next speaker before you. But before I tell you about this year's ESP of the Year, I first want to thank our ESP organizing committee, who reviewed applications and forwarded a recommendation to the MSEA Board of Directors. Our ESP of the Year, Sherry Mayne from Century High School in Carroll County, and this year's MSEA ESP of the Year, is a stellar candidate for this award. But before she comes up here, I also want to share a few special things about Sherry. She is committed to helping students succeed. She has served as an hourly student assistant, instructional assistant prior to her current position, and has worked closely with elementary students receiving special education services, including nonverbal students in the Carroll County Public Schools. She also works as an after-school tutor for high school students, proving once again that it is all educators in a building who are part of a community of helping our students achieve. Sherry also does work beyond her schoolwork. Like many of us, she operates a food pantry in Westminster, which was essential in making sure that students had enough food when schools were closed during the early days of the pandemic. She helps to organize our annual Martin Luther King Jr. breakfast and our women's leadership training. She has served as our co-chair of the Women's Concerns Committee and is her building association's representative and her locals secretary. So let's give a strong union welcome to Sherry Mayne, our 2022 ESP of the Year. This is for you. You don't have to hold it, though. I'll hold it for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you all for all the hard work that you do every day. It takes more than just one person to make it a success. I'd like to begin with a quote. Success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome. That's by Booker T. Washington. Everyone has obstacles. They have had to overcome every day. As we work through them, we grow and we learn. When my daughter started kindergarten in 1999, I decided to quit my job and be more involved because she struggled. I became a volunteer in her class. I was then asked to work as a helper in the cafeteria because they couldn't get me to leave. This was great because I had the chance to interact with students and staff. I was asked if I would work with special ed preschool students. I had no degree, I had no experience, and I especially had no experience with children with special needs. With an open mind, I agreed to do the job. I ended up learning so much and having a great time while I did it. Not having a higher education might have been an obstacle for me when I began, but with the help of some talented and great teachers, I learned more than I ever thought possible. It took 7 years of working hourly before I became an instructional assistant. I continued to work with special needs children. My skills grew, and I became one of the few people in my school that could deal with behaviors. And I was asked to assist with all kinds of behaviors and disabilities. Every year was a new obstacle for me to overcome and learn from. I had a student one year as I was assigned to that proved to be a great challenge for me. After a few months of struggling, we both struggled, by the way. She wasn't too fond of me either. I went to my administration and I explained to them that I felt that I was doing more harm to her than good, and that I may not be the right person for that job. And I had a great administration who decided that they would listen to me. I feel being able to self-reflect and realize I wasn't the right person for that job was a blessing, and it shows good leadership. This obstacle made me stronger as a person. And believe it or not, when we moved assistants, she had an excellent year. She was very successful. And I was happy that I was able to recognize and make that change to make her life better. The obstacles make me stronger, and in 2010, I was asked to work with a nonverbal student with autism. Within 2 years, he was speaking in small sentences, and I wasn't the only person to make this happen, but it made me realize that sometimes the biggest obstacles may be the smallest things in our lives. Over the 15 years I worked at Winfield Elementary School, I was fortunate enough to work with some very talented people. Some of them are here with me. As I grew, I shared my knowledge with others. I've always treated everyone as equal. That's given me the ability to become friends and make connections everywhere. And everyone's the same in my eyes. With this philosophy, I gain relationships with everyone. I was always a member of my local union and MSEA, but I was never an active member. In 2014, I sustained an injury while I was working with one of our autism students. Unfortunately, I had to learn to walk again. I had to have some surgery called decompression surgery. Sorry. I lost my short and long-term memory. And with the help and hard work from me and my doctors, we were able to overcome that obstacle. And I was able to come back and work again. When I was cleared to come back in 2017, I was placed as a security assistant at Westminster High School. Boy, oh boy, elementary to high school, I was scared to death. Some of these kids, most of them are taller than me. And I was really scared to get back into a school after all that had happened. But I buckled up and I went back because I wanted to be with the kids. As I adjusted, I realized that my new role made me able to connect with the students in a different way. And I looked at it as a blessing because I would not have been able to connect with some of these students that crossed my path otherwise. I wouldn't have been able to be a role model in their life. So I had to rejoin the union because I had been gone for so long. And that's when I decided to become involved. I wanted to know what was going on and how I could make a difference for others who may have had to go through their own struggles and their own obstacles. As time went on, I joined more committees. I learned there was so much more to our union than just if something happens, call them. There's so many wonderful people that behind the scenes. I enjoy doing for others and giving of my time. I know in this profession, we don't really make a lot of money, so we find other ways to give. We give of ourselves every single day in the classroom. And my way of giving is by giving of my heart and my knowledge and my time to everyone. This, I hope, will touch someone, and I know that I'm there for a reason. My years at Westminster High, some were not easy, but I built amazing relationships. I built relationships with students who were having a tough time, who were struggling, and some of them told me that they were the reason I was there. And that made me feel great to know that even though I thought my job was not that important, that it did make a difference in someone's life. These are obstacles that we all face every day. Mine are about my life, yours are about your life. But as educators and support staff, we know the struggle. We have our own obstacles that we try to overcome, and together we are strong and we overcome. I want to end with another quote by Booker T. Washington. If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. Remember that as you go. I try to make it a point to find one person every day and give them a compliment. You never know what their day is like, and you never know what that one compliment might do for them. I want to thank Karen Randall, because she is the person who saw the best in me and nominated me. Thank you for the family in the Women's Concerns Committee that I have. Gloria, her knowledge never ceases to amaze me. And Wendy, I couldn't do a Google Classroom without her. And Tanya, you are the leader I want to be. You are phenomenal, and I'm so grateful that we cross paths. I want to thank my family for their encouragement, inspiration, and patience. It hasn't been easy. I want to thank everyone here for your support. And I want to thank the ESP Committee for nominating me this year as ESP of the Year. Be great. Make a difference. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
Thank you.
I want to recognize Cindy Porter, the chair of our Women's Concerns Committee. Great job. Well deserving.
Thank you.